Indeed, can an alien be good? It is almost impossible for one to come across an alien because once an alien is mentioned, the next thought that comes to mind is fear and panic, disaster and destruction. This gives credit to the saying, the only good alien is a dead alien. This is a tale of the Avengers, co-starring Captain Mar-Vell, the man without a world. The mighty Avengers, they write songs about the moon over Miami, but it isn't the moon that is on his mind now. What was in Spaceman's mind is the shadows because there is no escaping them, because he knew nowhere on Earth. He ran as fast as he could from this strange shadow that seeks to consume him, but met a rude reawakening. No, it can't be you. Not here. Not now. They were there, 3 aliens, a Bluehorn, Vision, and a lady. He tried to run away from the aliens, but they called back to him not to run from them. "Please, believe us. We are here as friends, not as enemies," he cried out. "You must come with us. You must. It is for your own good." "My own good? How could you know what is best for me? What do you know about Captain Mar-Vell?" "I know one thing, Spaceman. You will not come peacefully with us." And so, as the blue alien said this, he advanced towards Spaceman, who, in turn, helped him complete the words even before he could finish them. "And so you resort at once to force. Now at least, your true purpose is out in the open, and the sole way to dispute force is with counterforce." He gave him a loud punch on the jaw that sent him flying. He turned to the others and asked them if they would let him do what he must do, but still they tried to call out to him to listen to them, because he was in danger. This made him angry, and he attempted to attack. "Must? Must? Who are you to tell a Kree what to do? What are you, man or ghost?" He responded that he was neither. Rather, he was the Vision, an android with certain powers. As he continued to fight with Vision, he mentioned the fact that it must be challenging for him to deal with earthly criminals' power-crazed antics, but none of them had ever possessed a photonic unibeam, a carefully controlled light blast that could both solidify and immobilize opponents. Just then, upon seeing that he had attacked 2 members of their team, the lady in red tried to retaliate. "Oh? Then perhaps we should see how it fares against my mutant hex power." He looked at her, but obviously one prejudice in him during his stay on Earth was that he could never strike a lady. It was his rule, and he tended to play by it. So he flew up before she could force him to change his mind. Just as he was still in the process of flying, he heard a voice saying, "Who else needs to be the logical guy to zap Captain Mar-Vell besides Rick Jones?" Rick Jones had his gun at hand, and Captain Mar-Vell called out to the Avengers to come and carry him. They could sense the bitterness in his tone, where there ought to be none, while the other mentioned that it is okay to be proud. He agreed to be proud, and asked them to get going before he tossed his cookies. Luck was with them, as no one stumbled across their Quinjet there in the park. If the authorities had found Mar-Vell just then, there would have been questions and red tape, and they couldn't even imagine how disastrous it would be for both Mar-Vell and for the world. When they got inside their Quinjet, one of them noticed that Wanda seemed strangely silent and asked if something was wrong. "I was merely thinking, this man is an alien marooned here from a distant star, while Pietro and I are mutants, no more at home on Earth than he. We are all strangers in a strange land." He says nothing, this man-robot. For Wanda has her brother and even Mar-Vell's memories, but what an android has is nothing. Just the emptiness of the present and the dread of endless tomorrow. Just then, more than one reverse is interrupted as they got close to Cape Kinney Hospital. "Make yourselves presentable, people. One understaffed hospital coming right up." They made their way to the hospital to treat Mar-Vell. People looked at them weirdly, referring to them as costume clowns. They promptly strapped the alien in decontamination. They asked the people not to call him an alien since he had a name. If the Avengers' radio message was true, there was no time for anger, only desperate measures. They all became anxious, checking if he would survive being shot. The culprit who had shot him also prayed for him to pull through. Otherwise, he would become a murderer. The fear of becoming a killer brought back the past rushing in, threatening to give him a headache. He staggered into the back alley right off Bleecker Street. "I know it's you, Mar-Vell. It's gotta be you. But why now, in the middle of a gig that could be my big break?" He spoke to an imaginary Rick, and now he wished to get rid of him. All he saw was the negative zone, which created mental projections for him. And so, he is Rick, or at least he was. But now you can see that he was not alone, for this is the Annihilus quasi-human lord of the negative zone. Annihilus, who is forever seeking the gateway from his world so that he may avenge them. But little did even Annihilus know there is another who inhabits the careless cosmos. One consigned there by blind chance, and who was able to escape his fate for only 3 hours at a time by trading atoms with a denizen of the outer world with him, Rick Jones. No, Annihilus could not see him, but he watched as a spell from the beyond somehow filled a universe with specters of Reed Richards. Even Annihilus could not tell which was which. Only then could the master scientist make his headlong leap toward a hole, which briefly yawned between this cosmos and his own. A pinprick of light and energy which lasted but long enough for Richard to pass through it, and then it was gone, leaving him more alone, even more desolate than before. Give me some credit for your brains, will you? I know you want me to open that gate for you again, and I want to, but how the devil do I open it? You will find the answer you seek, lad, at the headquarters of the Fantastic Four. Mar-Vell's voice soon faded out, but he called back to him. He felt it was good for him, for it allowed him to stew in the negative zone dump for a long time while he chose the boy's silent route. Okay, I will switch atoms a bit one more time, but only because it might just be the last. That is all there was to it, just banging together those golden gizmos on his wrists, a half second of fireworks. And then it was Captain Mar-Vell's turn to play hero while he cooled his heels in the neg zone. He activated his power when he saw the need of the barest fingerhold and managed to use it. Then he received a signal from the Baxter building. What the FF feared had come to fulfillment. By the time he made it to the building, someone had already gone inside, and he called out to the others to go find Petro in precisely 30 seconds. Whatever it is, I pray our joint powers can cope with it. And soon the Avengers were on their spaceship to rescue as they made the machine move. Everyone had noted the only antagonism was between Rick Jones and the alien Mar-Vell, the tension that existed of interdependent youth and maturity. The others tried to stop him, but he had to continue. When he reached out to Rick and asked him to jump, Rick complied. He made them realize he was not alone, as there was another entity present beyond the hole he had gone through, confirming the truth of what he had said. Mar-Vell, on the other hand, when he discovered he could no longer fly, was determined to find a way to fly again, because he had to achieve his goal by all means. A unibeam blaster I once hid near there will help me reach my ultimate destination, which is nothing less than the Kree Galaxy. Rick asked the Avengers if Mar-Vell had reached the star, but they brought him down to Earth like a wounded sparrow. They encouraged him because he had done what he could, and they would just have to make the machine work. They prayed earnestly for it to work. We have drained off some of the radiation, Doc, but there is more, and we have used up nearly all our power. Amazing. The Nega-Radiation is far more powerful than we imagined, but if the decontamination is not finished, the radiation will build up all over again on its own. They had to find a solution as soon as possible to get things done. They tried to do this by placing the machine on the head of the Avenger android. He lamentated the fact that all mankind knew he was just an android, not complete, but only a few knew that his body eats, stores, and utilizes the unequaled energy of the sun itself. The doctor asked if they were to tap into that energy, then what would happen to his own health? I have to take my chances, Dr. Donaldson. If the nega power within Captain Mar-Vell builds to a critical mass, there will be no chance for any of us. Then, amidst the dim light of the lab, whose existence most people hardly suspected, there is enacted a scene more strange than truth or fiction. As burst after flaring burst of solar energy erupts from the brow of the unmoving vision to sear again and again, the eldritch, the invisible aura, surrounded the unconscious man of the Kree. The doctor asked him to stop because any further actions would cause more harm than good. The Avengers became sad as they looked at Mar-Vell. All Mar-Vell wanted was to return to the land he was born in. There are things you cannot know about Rick Jones, things transpiring more light years from Earth than you can count. But if you know them, if Mar-Vell knew them, you would both wish you had never heard of the Kree Galaxy. For now, the vast hall houses the intelligent, supreme, awesome entity composed of the greatest minds of the Kree's limitless past. How have you escaped the fate to which I once sentenced you? How dare you come into the presence of the supreme intelligence? Few things, great ones, are beyond the daring of, but here I explain further. The viewer will show me the one I hate the most in all the universe, my greatest foe, coming victim is the one called Mar-Vell. The Earthmen, fools that they be, think it lifeless, yet even they stand guard over it night and day, as if sensing that, if we buy it, the centuries shall live and they must perish. Can you see the Great One? He is like a living engine of destruction lost in an anthill. He heeds but one command, has but one goal from which not all the power on Earth can stay him. That particular goal killed Captain Mar-Vell and all who stand beside him.